French learners. Today, we are going to discover how sports vocabulary shapes everyday conversation in French-speaking countries, especially when discussing perseverance, teamwork, or personal challenges. We are going to learn some very common idiomatic expressions that make daily conversation more vivid and expressive.
All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome everyone to today's Explainer. If you're learning French and you find yourself totally struggling to understand and use idiomatic expressions, well, you are in the exact right place today. Our mission is simple but honestly so powerful. We are going to crack the code of everyday French idiomatic expressions. We've all been there, right? You're studying your vocab, practicing grammar, feeling pretty good, and then out of nowhere, a native speaker drops a phrase that leaves you completely baffled. Today, we're fixing that with a step-by-step guide looking specifically at a crazy category of French idioms that'll instantly level up your conversational skills.
So, tell me if this sounds familiar. You're chatting away, you understand every single individual word the native speaker is saying, but put together, the sentence makes absolutely zero sense. Maybe you're on a Zoom call with French colleagues and suddenly someone is talking about handlebars or wet sponges, and you're just sitting there nodding and smiling, praying nobody asks you a direct question. It is incredibly frustrating. But hey, don't worry because you're not alone and it's a completely normal part of language learning. We're going to decode this together right now.
Now here's a little cultural secret straight from our source material. In business or with friends, the French love to use sports metaphors. This is the key. The French constantly borrow terminology from tennis, boxing, cycling, you name it, to talk about work, projects, or even their love lives. Our source delightfully calls this sports without sneakers. Once you realize that your boring Tuesday business meeting is actually being described like the Tour de France, well, everything starts to make a whole lot more sense. To get you feeling super confident using these phrases, we've got a clear 5-step plan for you today. Spot the sport, decode the meaning, compare to English, solo speaking, and master it with a teacher. Let's get right into it.
First up, step 1, spot the sport.
Spotting the sport is basically your first line of defense when you hear a weird phrase in French. Before you completely panic and rush to a dictionary, just pause and ask yourself, wait, is this person talking about a sport right now? Here is the core framework we'll use to tackle these. Number 1, you spot the sport. Listen for words like balls, tracks, rackets, or jerseys. Number 2, decode the context. Figure out how that physical action translates to what's happening right now, like a tough project at work. And number 3, speak it aloud to build up that essential muscle memory. Let's test this framework out.
Moving on to step 2, decode the meaning. Okay, the difference between the literal translation of these phrases and what they actually mean in the real world is honestly pretty hilarious. Take this brilliant one.
Avoir la tête dans le guidon.
Literally, to have your head in the handlebars. Just picture a cyclist sprinting to the finish line, head down, pushing as hard as humanly possible, totally unable to look left or right. Now imagine your boss comes over to your desk asking about that massive report. You tell them,
Ah, j'ai la tête dans le guidon.
obviously you're not riding a bike at your desk, you're telling them you are completely overwhelmed with work, head down, frantically trying to hit a deadline. It's such a perfect visual metaphor.
Let's see how some other dramatic sports phrases play out in everyday life.
Jeter l'éponge.
Literally to throw the sponge, but it actually means to give up or abandon a project. Next up,
Mouiller le maillot.
literally to wet the jersey. In a business setting, it means to give it your all, get fully involved and actually sweat for the team's success. And finally,
Décrocher la victoire.
literally unhooking the victory, but it's just used to mean to win a contract or an argument. These physical, sweaty actions perfectly capture the emotional intensity of everyday stress.
Specific sports definitely dominate certain conversations. Let's look at tennis, because our source highlights a few great ones here.
Renvoyer la balle.
Literally means to return the ball. Figuratively, it means to return a favor, or let's be real, to pass the responsibility right back to someone else. Then you've got
Prendre la balle au bon. Saisir la balle au bon.
which both basically mean to catch the ball on the bounce. In everyday French, this means you're reacting quickly to an opportunity. You're seizing the moment without hesitation, exactly like a tennis player reacting to a crazy fast serve.
Real quick, before we leave the definitions, I want to touch on 2 more expressions from our source because they pop up constantly in French workplaces.
Avoir le sens du collectif. Avoir l'esprit d'équipe.
means having a sense of the collective, meaning you have great team spirit. But contrast that with,
Être au bout du rouleau.
literally, to be at the end of the roll. It means being totally and utterly exhausted. I mean, if you've been keeping your head in the handlebars for way too long, you are eventually going to end up at the end of the roll.
Step 3. Compare. To English. You know, one of the absolute best ways to memorize these idioms is to map them directly to their English equivalents. You'd be surprised how often our cultures share the exact same imagery. Notice how incredibly close this one is. In French, it's jeter l'éponge, throwing the sponge. In English, we say throw in the towel. Both of these come directly from boxing, where a trainer would literally throw a sponge or a towel into the ring to stop the fight and signal their fighter was giving up. So next time you try to remember jeter l'éponge, just picture that boxing ring. The object is slightly different, but the core cultural concept is literally exactly the same.
All right, step 4, solo speaking.
Okay, understanding these idioms intellectually is awesome, but to actually use them smoothly without freezing up, we need active practice. So here is your specific solo action plan. Right after this explainer finishes, I want you to pick the expression you liked the most. Maybe it's having your head in the handlebars. I want you to speak it aloud to yourself. Walk around your room and literally say, j'ai la tête dans le guidon. Practice the physical feeling of those words in your mouth. Getting your brain used to producing these sounds in private builds incredible muscle memory. That way, when you need it in public, it just rolls right off the tongue.
Before you leave, listen to Nia's story, featuring all the expressions we've studied. See if you can spot the expressions and relate to her experience. Then try using them to describe your own feelings when speaking French or listening to fast-speaking native speakers.
Nia se tient devant son miroir chaque matin. Elle répète les mêmes syllabes, encore et encore.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Nia. Non. Bonjour, je m'appelle...
Elle soupire. Apprendre une nouvelle langue est un sport d'endurance. Dans les rues animées de Paris, Nia se sent submergée. Les gens parlent trop vite, comme des sprinteurs,
Je suis vraiment au bout du rouleau.
pense-t-elle.
Pourquoi j'ai cette impression d'être constamment en train de courir? J'ai la tête dans le guidon. Dès que quelqu'un me parle en français, je panique, je bloque, je comprends à moitié.
Soudain, son téléphone sonne. C'est un numéro français. Son cœur bat la chamade,
Répondre ou ne pas répondre?
murmure-t-elle.
Si je ne réponds pas, je reste seule avec ma peur. Mais si je réponds, je vais devoir parler.
Elle regarde l'écran qui clignote. Le silence est une zone de confort, mais le silence n'apprend rien.
Non, il faut que je prenne la balle au bon. Ou plutôt, que je saisisse la balle au bon. C'est une chance de progresser, même si je fais des erreurs.
Avant de glisser son doigt sur l'écran, les doutes reviennent la hanter.
Et si je ne comprends pas ce qu'on me répond? Et s'il parle trop vite? Et si je dois toujours demander de répéter?
Elle prend une grande inspiration et se calme. Elle se souvient qu'elle n'est pas seule dans cette aventure.
Arrête! Tu ne peux pas toujours vouloir tout contrôler. Parfois, il faut juste jouer le jeu. Avoir le sens du collectif, c'est aussi accepter que les autres t'aident.
Elle se souvient du chemin parcouru depuis son arrivée. Elle a quitté son pays pour ce nouveau départ.
Je ne vais pas jeter l'éponge, pas maintenant. Je suis arrivée ici pour apprendre, pour vivre, pas pour fuir au premier mot difficile. Non.
Elle décroche enfin. Elle utilise les phrases qu'elle a répétées tant de fois devant son miroir.
Allô? Oui, bonjour. Excusez-moi, pouvez-vous répéter? Je débute en français.
À l'autre bout du fil, une voix patiente lui répond. La conversation est courte, mais c'est une victoire. Elle raccroche avec un petit sourire.
Oui, yes. Je vais devoir vraiment mouiller le maillot. Parler, écouter, me tromper, recommencer encore et encore.
Nia continue sa promenade, mais son pas est plus léger. Elle sait que le chemin est long, mais elle est prête.
Bon, peut-être que ce n'est pas si terrible, peut-être que je vais y arriver. Et peut-être qu'un jour, je vais vraiment décrocher la victoire. Parler français sans peur. Listen to Mia's story again in English while listening and reading along. Identify the French expressions we have studied and say them aloud whenever you hear their English equivalents.
Nia stands in front of her mirror every morning. She repeats the same syllables over and over. Hello, my name is Nia. No, hello. My name is... She sighs. Learning a new language is an endurance sport. In the busy streets of Paris, Nia feels overwhelmed. People speak too fast, like sprinters. I'm really at the end of my rope, she thinks. Why do I feel like I'm constantly running? I have my head down. The moment someone speaks French to me, I panic, I freeze, I only half understand. Suddenly, her phone rings. It's a French number. Her heart races. To answer or not to answer the phone, she whispers. If I don't answer, I stay alone with my fear. But if I answer, I'll have to speak. She looks at the flashing screen. Silence is a comfort zone, but silence teaches nothing. No, I need to take the ball and run with it. Or rather, seize the opportunity. It's a chance to progress, even if I make mistakes. Before sliding her finger across the screen, doubts come back to haunt her. What if I don't understand what they say back? What if they speak too fast? What if I always have to ask them to repeat? She takes a deep breath and calms down. She remembers she isn't alone in this adventure. Stop. You can't always want to control everything. Sometimes you just have to play the game. Having a team spirit is also about accepting that others can help you. She remembers how far she has come since she arrived. She left her country for this new beginning. I'm not going to throw in the towel. Not now. I came here to learn, to live, not to run away at the first difficult word. She finally answers. She uses the phrases she practiced so many times in front of her mirror. Hello? Hello? Excuse me, could you repeat that? I am a beginner in French. On the other end of the line, a patient voice answers her. The conversation is short, but it's a victory. She hangs up with a small smile. Yes, I really have to put in the hard yards. Speak, listen, make mistakes, start again, over and over. Nia continues her walk, but her step is lighter. She knows the road is long, but she is ready. Well, maybe it's not so terrible. Maybe I can make it. And maybe one day, I will really clinch the victory, speaking French without fear.
And finally, step 5, master it with a teacher. Look, solo practice is essential, but it can only take you so far. To get true fluency and actual confidence, you need human interaction. Here's what you do. Book a session with a professional language teacher. Bring this exact list of sports idioms to your lesson. Tell them, hey, I really want to practice mouiller le maillot. A teacher is going to give you 2 massive benefits you just can't get alone. First, they'll help you perfect your pronunciation, making sure you don't accidentally say something super embarrassing. And second, they give you real-time correction so you know exactly when it's culturally appropriate to drop these phrases. It's an absolute game changer for enhancing your speaking skills.
And that brilliantly brings us to the end of our Sports Without Sneakers decoding session. I want to leave you with a direct question straight from our source today. Which expression from this list did you find the absolute funniest? Or maybe the closest to an English idiom? Pick your favorite, practice it out loud to yourself right now, and then seriously, take it to your language teacher to truly lock it in. Keep your head out of the handlebars, guys, and keep practicing.
Continuez à pratiquer et ne jetez pas l'éponge. If this video helped you, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And if you want to keep improving your French with more practical, real-world guides like this one, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you never miss a lesson. Thank you so much for watching and for allowing me to be a part of your French journey. Keep practicing, be bold, and bon courage. À bientôt!